Welcome, free peoples of Middle-earth, to Lewisly Interpreted, the show where we three Lewis siblings talk about all things nerdy. I'm Grayson.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Bailey.
Today we're going to be talking about Lord of the Rings. There's so many magical and wonderful places in Tolkien's universe, from the Forest of Lothlorien, Mirkwood, the Lonely Mountain. So to kick off the conversation, we're going to ask the question of, where in Middle-earth would you like to explore? With the caveat of, you have the resources and the party members to survive.
No deaths today.
Uh-huh.
It's interesting to me that the very first place on your list is the place I would want to go. The Forest of Lothlorien is beautiful in the film.
Which one is that?
That's the one where
Lady
Gandalf
Galadriel
has just died. Lady Galadriel's there.
Okay, we're good. I know.
In the books, they're in tree houses, and it was such a wonderful scene to visualize in my head reading the books growing up. A place that is terrifying, but ultimately really the safest and the most secure. The leader, Galadriel, is wise, incredibly wise, and knows exactly the gift that will help the heroes continue in their quest. And I like that a lot.
Plus, she's pretty.
Plus, she's pretty.
All important things.
On top of all the other elves.
Not very feminist of you.
You can still be feminist.
The guys are pretty too.
That is true. They did a good job of casting in Lord of the Rings.
Chris, where would you like to go?
I would like to go to the Kingdom of Anur. So,
Ooh.
yeah. So in the movies, you hear about the Witch King of Angmar, the Flame of Anur. Those are all references to the Northern Kingdom that was a part of Gondor, and then when the king died, Gondor and Anur split. And then Anur fell because of civil war, unrest, and then orcs and all of the awfulness that is Sauron swept in and corrupted everything.
Oh, Sauron.
There's a Taylor Swift reference in there somewhere.
Probably. Yeah. Did she date Sauron too?
She knew he was trouble when he walked in.
So was he bad guy before or after? I'm sorry, Swift.
No, she makes the good guys bad for a weekend.
That was a long weekend.
Time's different in Middle-earth.
Well, anyways, it's the land to the north of the Shire. They talk about the Men of Bree. That's just south of Anur. And it's a wild land. It's got a lot of history and lore of Middle-earth. But it's not really explored in Lord of the Rings. I believe it's explored in the Silmarillion, but I haven't read that. So it's a wide and wonderful world, and that's one that's just not explored, so that's where I'd want to go.
It's a land that really favors the rangers. It's people who just,
Yes, it's where the ranger race originally came from. The Dunedain are from that area.
That's fun to say. Dunedain.
Dunedain.
And also, fun fact, Aragorn is a Dunedain.
Yes.
Okay.
That I didn't know.
Just in case
Like
you
one of
didn't
the
know that,
last.
I guess.
Isn't he?
Then why is he
No,
the king
there's
of
a-
Gondor
there's
or
a-
the heir of Gondor?
There's a fair amount.
Half Dunedain.
Ah, okay. So for mine, I'd want to go to Fangorn.
Fangorn Forest.
Yes, because of the Ents. I think the Ents are cool. Treebeard's one of my faves. I want to hang out with the Ents in Fangorn.
Fangorn Forest.
Fangorn Forest.
That is a place that would try my patience.
Why?
The Ents are slow. They do everything slow. In like a conversation takes hours.
That'd be so funny. For like exploring. I wouldn't want to live in Fangorn, but I'd like to explore Fangorn
It's fair.
and meet an Ent.
And have a short conversation that only lasts 10 hours.
Yeah. Like, what's your favorite color?
I think in the book they talk about it's either Treebeard or one of the other Ents that they reference by name, and they talk about how hasty he is, and he's still like in comparison to the free peoples, the elves, dwarves, and humans, it takes an eternity to talk, but in comparison to the rest of the Ents, he just is faster.
He's a speedster.
Yeah, and so he's frowned upon by his people because he's considered brash or
rude.
Yeah, he's considered blunt. Yeah, he just is way too
temperamental.
He's considered hasty, and I guess for an Ent, anything that doesn't take a century is hasty.
They would not be a good race to have dinner with.
No, because you just get hungry again.
They only serve light for dinner.
Photosynthesis.
Speaking of dinner, if you could have dinner with any of the races in Lord of the Rings, which dinner would you want to have race with? If you could have dinner with any of the races from Lord of the Rings, which race would you want to have dinner with? Christopher?
The Hobbits.
Hobbits.
The Hobbits.
Why the hobbits?
Because they have a wide variety of food. They know how to party. They know how to relax. It's a good time had by all. I feel like the dwarves, while I would like the food that they have,
Meat.
Mead. That's the part. I don't think they would remember, or I wouldn't remember the night, and that's less than ideal. So, and the elves just eat plants, and I can't do that. And the men are boring. I'm a man. I don't want to eat with other men. I'd rather explore other cultures. So, the hobbits.
Do they really know how to party, though? Because in The Hobbit, we've got the dwarves, and he's like, no. And of course we see Bilbo's birthday, but he's a brash compared to other hobbits.
That's fair. Although my style of party isn't really like dwarven or outlandish like that. It's more of the just eat, drink, and be merry, and music. Yeah,
Tell stories around the campfire.
it's a lot more chill. I like hobbits. They know how to live.
The hobbits are good.
The hobbits are a great choice.
Hobbits, good folk.
I, unlike Christopher, would probably prefer fruits and vegetables. So I would want to eat with the elves. Plus, I just want to go to Rivendell. Rivendell. I just want to go to Rivendell and see the pretty city. And I think they'd have better food because I can't eat meat, so I can't eat with the dwarves.
We are really giving the dwarves a hard time.
I feel that. I would love to hang out with dwarves, but I feel like
I mean, they're second on my list.
I wouldn't be able to eat their food, and I feel like that would just be inconsiderate to the dwarves, because if they prepare a meal and you can't eat it, they wouldn't understand that. So I can't really eat with the dwarves. Men still would probably eat meat. So my choices are the hobbits or the elves. I'd probably pick the elves.
You could pick the dragons.
What do dragons eat, Christopher?
Whole cows.
Everything.
Okay, funny. Aren't cows meat?
Uh-huh.
Surely they have a vegan option.
I'm sure they eat vegans, yeah.
But yeah, also, can you imagine the beautiful music while you're eating?
Sure, or any of the arts.
Yeah,
The elves
just
are really
that'd
known
be
for.
so beautiful and fun, and I want that.
Well, in the Fellowship, you're talking about arts and stuff.
Mhm.
I believe they recite poetry with Frodo for like hours. They tell lore and all that stuff. So,
That'd be fun.
sing songs.
Ah.
Go just like that, yeah.
That's verbatim. That's the song they sing. The classic elf song.
That's from Hunger Games. Go ahead, Grayson. Who would you want to eat dinner with?
For me, I think the race that I would want to eat with are the giants. In The Hobbit, they get a real bad rap. All we see is them throwing boulders at the party, and
Food.
yeah, they didn't even know the party was there. They were more having a friendly game of catch between one another. But you hungry? You're not gonna be after you eat with the giants.
Oh yeah, because they'd have so much food because they're huge.
So much food. They might not even notice that you've had any.
You can never have too much.
You can never have too much.
You won't be considered rude.
The only other thing I really know about them is they play sports. And so getting to watch giants play sports with boulders would be awesome. That's why.
Imagine baseball with a boulder.
But imagine watching the giants play sports after the meal. Phenomenal. Would just be a great spectacle.
Beware of objects flying into the stage.
You might die.
Yeah.
Sure, but you could die doing anything in Middle Earth.
That's true.
And now for something completely different. So we've got our favorite dinner guests, but who are our favorite party members? Bailey.
Legolas.
Why Legolas?
First of
he's
all,
beautiful.
that is true.
Orlando Bloom.
First of all, the first time I ever watched it, it was Two Towers, and Legolas was just the coolest person in Two Towers to me. Isn't that the one where he does the cool swing thing?
Yeah, on the
Yeah,
horse.
the swing on the horse with
I got none of your reasons. What was that?
He's just. I think the elves are just so cool.
Him in particular, he gets a lot of really cool scenes, like walking on top of the snow.
Yeah, he
and
walks in the
footprints.
snow. I think that's super cool. His eyesight and how he can see, is it 10 miles? on a
It's
clear day?
absurd.
It's like a ridiculous amount of distance. Those are words. So yeah, Legolas has always been my favorite. Plus he's just funny with his interactions with Gimli.
That's a great dynamic between the two of them.
And because he more like, Gimli always seems like angry at Legolas, but Legolas is like, oh, you small child.
Rude.
I love Legolas. Always have, always will. Favorite.
My favorite character, I think, is the most underrated heart of the party, and that's Merry.
I do love Mary.
Merry's great. He's a fantastic representation of the hobbits without the extremes of the others. You know, Frodo's the ring bearer, and yes, he's core to the party, but he's got this burden on his shoulders. Sam is loyal. Pippin is ridiculous, but Merry is true. He's fun-loving, but not so much that he can't rein in Pippin, but also support him in his goofy endeavors. And I don't think Merry gets enough love in the movies.
Especially that moment in Fellowship where Frodo's leaving and Merry realizes it and decides to distract the orcs and Uruk-hai.
Such a good scene.
Great act
It's
of courage.
the best. Like, I just watched it and I almost cried. And even though I've seen it so many times, just because it was like that moment. He's a good one.
Yeah.
Plus his courage in the final fight. When he steps up and stabs the Witch King, he saves both Eowyn and Theoden for those final moments. And
Why do their names have to rhyme?
Tolkien likes words, likes alliteration, poetry.
What's even worse is the bad guys is Sauron and Saruman.
As a child, oh my gosh.
Terrible.
Sorry, what was the rest of your point?
Mary's a good pick.
What about you? Who would you pick?
If we're going with the book, Aragorn, which is an obvious choice. But in the book, what I love about Aragorn is in the movies he seems like he's afraid to be king, like he's running from it. Whereas in the books, he's just waiting. He knows he's king. He knows who he is and what his responsibility is, and he's waiting for the right moment to step up. But he knows it's not now. He knows he's needed elsewhere. So he continues on the path that is laid out for him instead of rushing to what is rightfully his. Whereas in the movies, he's he hides from it. He runs from it until he's convinced otherwise. So in the book, I love Aragorn. In the movies, Gandalf is my favorite.
He's waiting till he owns ghosts.
Yes, he's waiting till he's got... Yeah. But in the movies, Gandalf is my favorite because he represents so much of that light that is just missing in this world. And he's got some of the best one-liners.
You shall not pass!
Fly, you fools.
That was the one I was going to do.
So many great lines.
Yep, so many great lines. A wizard is never late, nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he needs to.
I like to quote that when people tell me that I'm late.
You're a wizard, Grayson.
We did that last week.
Fine.
Tolkien loves words, and that's something Peter Jackson kept in the movies. So we're going to give each other riddles, since that is a reoccurring theme throughout Tolkien's universe.
Especially with the hobbits. One is in it Bilbo and Gollum.
Yes, Bilbo and Gollum have the riddle off
Yeah.
for the fate of Bilbo's life.
And the passageway for Mines of Moria, it's a riddle as the...
Big friend.
Kind of.
It's not actually a riddle. It's actually just very...
Yeah, it's very blunt. Say friend, and that's the password. It's shorter than the rest, but when you're happy, you raise it like it's the best. What is it?
My first thought goes to thumb, because it is the shortest finger, and yes, the thumb is a finger. It is a digit, and and you'd raise it, giving a thumbs up if you're happy.
Is he right?
Yeah.
Yes!
I was nowhere near it.
What were you thinking?
I was thinking of flags, and I was like, that does not help us at all.
It's really, it's at home.
I'm really bad at riddles. This is gonna be fun. Okay.
Your turn.
Okay. Lives in winter, dies in summer, and grows with its roots upward. What is it?
Lives in winter. Dies in summer. Grows with its roots upward.
Well done, Bailey. Icy wind.
What's great about this riddle is it's so tied to plant imagery, it's hard to escape it. Which is a sign of a good riddle. I don't know the answer of it.
I don't either.
It's an icicle.
Ah! That's so good. Good job.
That is a good one. Would you like to do another one?
I can't. If I have it, I don't share it. If I share it, I don't have it. What is it?
A child with its toy.
That's a good guess, but no.
One more time?
If I have it, I don't share it. If I share it, I don't have it. What is it?
This feels like the sort of riddle that the answer would be an emotion to. But emotions they aren't necessarily gone if you share them, if you talk about them. So what do you talk about and it's gone?
If you guys were Bilbo, you'd be dead.
Yep. I'd get F. On the bright side, though, I'm a lot bigger than Bilbo.
True.
I think, Bailey, you have stumped us.
It's a secret.
Keep it secret. Keep it safe.
Yes.
What is that a reference to?
What's Gandalf?
Gandalf? Okay.
The ring.
I couldn't yeah, that's right. I couldn't remember.
That's in the right video.
All right.
We've lost our minds.
Another good one. Treasure Planet.
You guys ready?
Yep.
Yes.
Unlike other rulers, I am strengthened by neglect. Over my jurisdiction, great taxes I elect. When routine dues are paid, I am weakened severely. Yet if too long delayed, it may cost you quite dearly. My vault is of the flesh, my tellers silver and bone. The upkeep of the kingdom is financed with a loan. What am I?
You're stronger when you neglect it.
Hunger.
Correct.
Yes! I got one!
How'd you get it that fast?
Well, okay, so I started with debt. And once I was like, okay, debt, because it gets stronger as you neglect it. That's the key phrase that I was stuck on, and debt was what came to mind. And then I was like, okay, what else gets stronger as you neglect it? Hunger is the only other thing I could think of.
I'm so bad at riddles. I was nowhere near hunger.
Which leads us to our last question.
Our sibling question.
Dun da da da!
If your sibling was in Lord of the Rings, which race would they be part of?
Bailey would be a river maid. River maids are in the first book. The one reference we get of river maids is river maid marries Tom Bombadil. Marries Tom Bombadil. A lover of poem and song, a wonderful dancer, so somebody of the arts. But without all the stereotypes of the elves.
I went with the stereotypes of the elves for Bailey. Specifically, though, there's really 3 realms of elves that are mentioned. I went with Rivendell because they're the most balanced between wisdom and courage. They exhibit both combative abilities and peaceful, arts-loving. So, yeah.
I do like them arts.
And that's where you wanted to go to dinner, so that kind of works out really nicely.
Makes sense. Just go with my people.
Where my people at?
I want Christopher to be a dragon.
Why do you want Christopher to be a dragon?
Because I'm greedy.
Because they're cool.
Because I Ents everything.
Because he raps and spits hot fire.
No rap. Not
There's
a rap.
actually really no good reason other than I think dragons would be his Middle-earthed spirit animal.
That's
Their
fair.
essence is
Wrath.
like
That's funny because I also think Christopher is greedy, and he would be a dwarf.
I almost went with dwarf.
I'm done.
Dwarf because Christopher is strong emotionally.
And I got a one-track mind.
Dwarves are stubborn, but in the best possible way.
Gimli.
Still on my Countess one.
They're tough and they're rugged, and I like Christopher's beard.
Don't tell the elf.
And Grayson, I would want to visit him in Elhorn.
Fangorn.
Fangorn. I want to visit him in Fangorn because I think he's an Ent.
The creepy thing is, and I'm sorry because you mentioned that you didn't like the Ents or you find them irritating, is that I also picked Ent.
Okay, because my interpretation of the Ents is Treebeard. And Treebeard is very wise. He's protective of his kind. And he is willing to fight when he has to, but he doesn't go straight towards violence. And I think that epitomizes Grayson.
Yeah.
So specifically Treebeard. But that is his name, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of the races, they're the least rash, and yeah, I think that's a good caricature of people that are patient and obviously overly, and it shows the bad side of that. But there's so much good in the fact that they take their time and they don't rush into anything. So, and they're very wise. That, and I'm not gonna give you wizard they arrive exactly when they mean to, but of the family, you're the slower of the group to get ready.
I think those.
Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Comment down below.
What race you would want to be if you were in Middle Earth?
And your favorite party member.
Me.
I'm in the show, the movie. And as always,
It
still only counts as one.
Are great reasons as to